It's the 9th of June 2025. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst's Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news tonight for the Newsfirst team. I am Jayama Ratnayaka.
And I am Hashini Pathirana. First up is a look at your headlines for tonight.
How was a prisoner released without a presidential pardon? Commissioner General of Prisons suspended following cabinet decision. Anrahapura prison officer taken into CID custody, remanded. What was inside the uninspected containers released by customs? CID questions Udaya Gammampila. Let the CID and judiciary handle it, says Minister Bimal. Harakkata prepared to testify before Bribery Commission. Permission sought from court to record statement. Mihintale prepared for national Pson celebrations. Sirasa visits the historic Kuragala site. In the latest development of your top story for tonight, the Commissioner General of Prisons, Tushar Upuldenia, has been arrested by the CID. Earlier today, the Cabinet decided to suspend the duties of Commissioner General of Prisons, Tushar Upuldenia, in connection with the alleged unlawful use of presidential pardons to release inmates. The Criminal Investigation Department has launched an investigation into the incident where an inmate from the Anrahapura prison who had not received a presidential pardon was released on Vesak Poya Day. As part of the investigation, the CID had recorded multiple statements from Tushara Upuldenia regarding the incident.
It is clear that this was not an act by the President, as the individual in question was not on the official list of pardons. This incident appears to have occurred due to negligence within the administrative system. Disciplinary action is currently being taken in accordance with proper procedures. If someone is found to be responsible, we will take appropriate legal action against them.
Meanwhile, Mohan Karunaratne, the Anrahapura Prison Superintendent, who was arrested in connection with the incident, has been remanded until the 11th of this month. This decision was made when he was presented before Anrahapura Chief Magistrate Nalaka Sanjeeva Jayasuriya this afternoon. Presenting the suspect to court, the CID stated that a forged document bearing the signature of the Anrahapura Prison Superintendent had been submitted to the Anrahapura High Court, falsely claiming that a convict in a case heard before the court had been granted a presidential pardon on the recent Vesak Poya Day. Upon reviewing the letter and acting on its contents, the convict was released from the case. However, based on a complaint lodged by the Presidential Secretariat, preliminary investigations led to the arrest of the prison superintendent. Although the Anrahapura Prison Superintendent had officially informed the Anrahapura High Court in writing that the convict in case number HC 69/2018 had been released under a presidential pardon on Vesak Poya Day, CID officers emphasized that no such pardon had been granted to the individual named Vijayakon Mudiyanselage Atula Tilakaratne by the President on that day. Accordingly, CID officials suspect that the letter submitted to the High Court by the Anrahapura Prison Superintendent claiming the convict had received a presidential pardon was a forged document. They further stated that the act appeared to be deliberate and premeditated and that there may be other suspects involved. A broader investigation is underway to apprehend and present those individuals to court. The CID also revealed that similar irregularities are being uncovered in other prisons across the country. The CID requested the court to remand the suspect. Appearing on behalf of the suspect, Senior Attorney at Law Aravinda Habakala argued that the prison superintendent had informed the court in accordance with existing prison department regulations and that the notification regarding the convict in case HC 69/2018 being released under a presidential pardon was made in good faith and through proper procedure. He requested that his client be released on any suitable bail conditions. After considering the submissions from both parties, Chief Magistrate Nalaka Sanjeeva Jayasuriya rejected the bail request and ordered that the suspect be remanded until the 11th of this month. This problematic situation arose in connection with the release of an individual named Atula Tilakaratne under a presidential pardon on Vesak Day. The inmate in question, a former branch manager of a well-known financial institution, had been convicted by the court for involvement in a financial fraud amounting to 4 million rupees. On the 2nd of May, the Anrahapura High Court found him guilty and imposed a fine. The case was scheduled to be recalled on the 4th of June for the payment of the imposed fine and compensation. However, on that day, Anrahapura prison officials submitted a written report to the High Court stating that the convict had been released under a presidential pardon granted on Vesak Poya Day, which fell on the 12th of May. At present, the same individual is facing 31 separate court cases related to financial frauds totaling approximately 508.2 million rupees. Last Friday, the Department of Prisons announced that Vijayakon Mudiyanselage Atula Tilakaratne had been released under the presidential pardon. However, the Presidential Secretariat clarified last Saturday that the name W.H. Atula Tilakaratne was not included in the official list of individuals approved by the President for pardon. The Presidential Secretariat lodged a formal complaint with the Criminal Investigation Department requesting an investigation into the unauthorized release of a prisoner who had not been granted a presidential pardon. During the course of the investigation, police issued a statement revealing that information had come to light indicating that presidential pardons were misused to release inmates on Vesak Day. It was also previously discovered that in similar instances, prisoners who had not received presidential approval were released under the guise of a pardon. As part of the investigation, the CID recorded statements from the Commissioner General of Prisons, Tushara Upuldeniya, on 2 separate occasions, totaling approximately 15 hours.
The Committee for the Protection of Prisoners' Rights has filed a formal complaint with the Criminal Investigation Department calling for an immediate investigation into alleged corruption and misconduct within the prison system related to the misuse of presidential pardons.
Prison officers have reportedly been involved in such misconduct for many years. That's why we've requested the CID to take the necessary legal action against those responsible. Once the President signs a pardon, it's the prison authorities who are responsible for implementing it. In fact, the list of eligible inmates for presidential pardon is also prepared and submitted by the Prison Department. Therefore, the Prisons Department carries a significant responsibility in ensuring this process is carried out properly. If there has been any fraud or illegality in this matter, the prison authorities cannot avoid accountability for it. Senior prison officials have reportedly been involved in corrupt practices for quite some time. Now it seems that they've even managed to manipulate the president, suggesting a well-organized misuse of authority. By accepting bribes and releasing prisoners unlawfully, they've created a situation where inmates who deserve legal freedom are being treated unfairly. It's a serious injustice to those seeking legitimate release through proper channels. The law must be enforced against the officials behind this. Many of these individuals are known to be close allies of the former Defence Secretary and still hold influence. We've been raising concerns about this repeatedly. These officials are not just undermining the justice system, they are attempting to manipulate the government itself.
Meanwhile, the Committee for Protecting Rights of Prisoners staged a protest this afternoon opposite the Ministry of Justice. According to our correspondent, a group of protesters had entered the Ministry of Justice and engaged in a discussion with the minister.
The minister confirmed to us that the cabinet has already decided to suspend the duties of the Commissioner General of Prisons. We consider this as a positive step, as it's not appropriate to continue investigations while those suspected of misconduct remain in positions of authority.
Former MP Udaya Gamanpila was summoned to the Criminal Investigations Department this morning for questioning regarding allegations that 323 containers were released without undergoing customs inspection.
Former MP Udaya Gamanpila appeared before the Criminal Investigation Department at around 10 a.m. this morning. After providing a statement for nearly 3 hours, the former MP exited the Criminal Investigation Department and made the following remarks.
I have a list that has been released by customs. It includes who sent it, from which country, to whom, a customs declaration and the container number. These 4 details are all included in the list. I have handed over that list.
Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation, Bimal Ratnayaka addressed the media on the ongoing controversy surrounding 323 containers following a program held today.
The customs is not under my control. You have to find it out from them. The customs department operates inside the port and it belongs to the Ministry of Finance. The customs department operates according to their act. It is the oldest act in Sri Lanka. We have to say that we do not know all of this, but there are 2 media institutions in Sri Lanka and they know everything. There are also several people on social media who also knows a lot about this. Recently, a parliamentarian questioned me about this in parliament. I am pretty sure he does not know what customs is or what the port is. The customs department has a history spanning 150 to 200 years, yet there's a concerted effort to perpetuate a myth about its current practices. Now, which port in the whole world inspects all its containers? That's the inception of the problem. We can inspect, but what will happen if you start inspecting all? Then, on the other hand, they say that there is a shortage of salt and sugar. His approach reflects a political mindset reminiscent of the Rajapaksa era, with its lingering influence still evident in certain media sectors. These misleading narratives often exploit public ignorance. No port in the world, not even technologically advanced hubs like Shanghai or Rotterdam, inspects every single container. Then there are internationally accepted methods. There are companies that have brought goods for 15 to 20 years without any mistakes, without any accusations, without fraud. Internationally, there are established protocols for efficient port operations. For instance, companies with a long history of compliance and no record of fraud are often granted green channel status, allowing their goods to pass without inspection. This system, adopted by customs worldwide, provides an incentive for legitimate businesses and streamlined trade. Officials who uphold proper and legal procedures should also be afforded such opportunities. So, it is something that customs does not only in Sri Lanka but all over the world. The current political opposition, seemingly grasping for relevance, appears to be clinging to these baseless claims. They harbour what I believe are misguided hopes for a future political landscape. Ultimately, I believe the proper course of action is to refer these matters to the Criminal Investigation Department and the courts, where a definitive resolution can be found.
මේකෙන්වත් ගොඩ යන්න බලාගෙන මම හිතන්නේ CID එක අධිකරණයටයි බාර දෙමු ඒකේ අවසාන පිළිතුරු ලබා.
The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption recorded statements today from complainants regarding the compensation of 1.22 billion rupees claimed for MP residences that were set on fire during the Aragalaya.
A formal complaint was submitted by the Citizens Power Organisation against bribery, corruption and waste to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption on 27th of February.
ඉල්ලුම්කරු එක පුද්ගලයෙක් මුදල් ගෙවලා තියෙන වෙන පුද්ගලයෙක්ගේ නමට ඒක ඇත්තටම 23 වෙනි ඡේදයේ තියෙනවා මෙන්න මෙතන.
The applicant is one individual, but the payment has been made under different person's name. According to Section 23 of the documentation, the property in question is linked to CJ Rajapaksa, that is Chamal Rajapaksa. However, the payment has been made to a recipient named SPC Chandana, who received over 15 million rupees. This raises serious concerns, as it is commonly known that many politicians hold assets under the names of others. In this case, although the property appears to belong to Chamal Rajapaksa, it is officially registered under someone else's name. The application was made under one name, but the cheque with a substantial compensation amount was issued under the name of the registered owner, not the actual beneficiary. This suggests potential corruption. A payment of 15 million rupees has been made for a property that is not even officially registered under the recipient's name. Moreover, compensation has reportedly been paid to around 244 ministers and MPs, raising further questions about possible irregularities and misuse of public funds. Therefore, in line with the complaints submitted to the Bribery Commission, statements are now being recorded to investigate these allegations of corruption and misuse of state compensation schemes.
අල්ලස් කමිසමට පැමිණිලි කරපු පැමිණිල්ලට අනුව ප්‍රකාශ ලබා දෙනවා.
Several senior police officers have been newly appointed to further strengthen the investigation and criminal prosecution process for bribery or corruption charges. These appointments were made with the approval of the National Police Commission.
The National Police Commission has approved a series of immediate transfers and appointments affecting several senior police officers. Senior Superintendent of Police M.S. Mohan Lal has been appointed as the Director of Investigations at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. He previously served at the same unit at the Commission. Meanwhile, Superintendent of Police A.S.K. Bandara has been transferred from the Ampara Division to the Criminal Investigation Department, while Assistant Superintendent of Police W.T. Anuranga has also been reassigned from the Mount Lavinia Division to the CID. In other notable changes, ASP BLA Prasanna has been transferred from the LPT division to the Nugegoda division, and ASP MPD Deepthi Kumaro has been moved from Nugegoda to LPT. The police department also confirmed that transfers have been approved for 8 chief inspectors and 2 inspectors of police as part of this broader reshuffle.
A decision has been made to summon 4 witnesses who provided testimony regarding the 2023 shooting incident at a hotel in Waligama before the committee appointed to investigate allegations of abuse of power by IGP Deshabandhu Tennakoon.
IGP Deshabandhu Tennakoon appeared today for the 4th consecutive day before the committee appointed to investigate allegations of abuse of power. Attorney-at-Law Sanjeeva Veeravikrama represented IGP Tennakoon before the committee, which is chaired by Supreme Court Justice Preeti Padman Surasena. Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris appeared on behalf of the Attorney General. At its 3rd session, the committee decided to read out the statements of witnesses 24 and 25 pertaining to the 2023 shooting incident at a hotel in Waligama. Attorney-at-Law Sanjeeva Veeravikrama, representing IGP Deshabandhu Tennakoon, requested the committee to grant him 3 days to review the material. However, at the start of today's proceedings, Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris, appearing on behalf of the Attorney General, informed the committee that despite requesting 3 days, Attorney Veeravikrama had reviewed the evidence notes for only 1 day. In response, Attorney-at-Law Sanjeeva Veeravikrama, representing the IGP, stated,
Your Honour, there are some minor differences. I think it would be better if we could obtain those testimonies.
After reviewing the available evidence, Attorney-at-Law Sanjeeva Veeravikrama again stated before the committee that it was not necessary to call the 28th witness before the committee. However, Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris objected, asserting that the 28th witness should in fact be summoned before the committee. The committee agreed with this request. Meanwhile, a decision was made to summon 4 witnesses who had provided testimony about the 2023 shooting incident at a hotel in Waligama before the committee.
Your Honour, 4 witnesses numbers 1, 24, 25 and 26 are expected to be called before the committee on the 11th, when the committee meets again for the investigation. The remaining 16 witnesses can be called afterwards.
Attorney Sanjeeva Veeravikrama, representing the IGP Deshabandhu Tennakoon, informed the committee that the 16th suspect should not be present when the 4 witnesses are summoned. The committee accepted this request as no objections were raised. Accordingly, based on the committee's consensus, witnesses 1, 24, 25 and 26 will be summoned next Wednesday. Meanwhile, 4 reports related to the ongoing investigation into the Waligama shooting, including 2 forensic reports, a court report, a post-mortem report, were submitted to the committee today by Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris. The committee is scheduled to reconvene at 9:30 a.m. the day after tomorrow.
Colombo High Court Judge Sujeeva Nisanka ordered the Terrorism Investigation Division today to assist the Bribery Commission in obtaining a statement from the alleged drug trafficker Nadun Chintaka Vikramaratne, also known as Harakata. Harakata is currently detained at the Old Tangol Prison Complex under the Prevention of Terrorism Act.
The case against 3 accused, including Nadun Chintaka Vikramaratne, also known as Harakata, who are charged with conspiring to escape while in the custody of the Criminal Investigation Department, was heard again today at the Colombo High Court. During the proceedings, State Counsel Sajid Bandara informed the court that a request had been made to record a statement from the accused as part of an ongoing investigation by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. He further requested that officers from the Bribery Commission be granted the necessary facilities to record the statement from the accused. The High Court granted permission for this request.
Former Minister Kelum Ramukwala appeared before the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today. This was to provide a statement related to an ongoing investigation under the Money Laundering Act.
Kelum Ramukwala left the Bribery Commission this afternoon after providing a statement for nearly 5 hours. The Commission has filed a court case against Ramukwala for appointing close friends to private staff positions, resulting in a loss to the government exceeding 8 million rupees.
Newsfirst with the people.
Tomorrow, Sri Lanka will observe Pson Full Moon Poya Day, a deeply significant occasion for Buddhists across the island. The primary celebrations for the National Pson Festival will unfold at the historic Mihintale Rajamahaviharaya. Over the next 3 days, an estimated 2 million devotees are anticipated to journey to Anrahapura, the ancient capital, to participate in religious observances and pay homage. Additionally, the Sirasa Namami Pson zone will be held at the Kuragala Rajamahaviharaya in Balangoda.
Ranjit Vimalasurya, the District Secretary of Anrahapura and Chairman of the Pson Festival Committee, said that comprehensive facilities have been arranged for devotees visiting the sacred city of Anrahapura for the National Pson Festival.
Anrahapura city is gearing up to host up to 600 dansal this year, offering a wide array of amenities for visitors. We've arranged for extensive accommodation facilities and designed over 800 toilets for everyone's convenience. To ensure smooth access, the police have implemented an effective road and traffic plan, complemented by 6 main checkpoints where devotees can utilize QR codes for various services.
QR කේතෙන් මේ කී සියලුම දේවල් නිරීක්ෂණය කළ හැකි සියලුම බැතිමතුන්ට.
The Sirasa Namami Sirasa Pson zone, organized jointly by Sirasa TV and Sirasa FM, is being held this year at the historic Kuragala Rajamahaviharaya in Balangoda. This Pson zone, prioritizing both spiritual and meritorious deeds, features various attractions including pandals, lanterns, dansals and devotional songs. The Sirasa Namami Poya Day program will also be centered at the Kuragala Rajamahaviharaya. Operating under the guidance of its chief incumbent, Venerable Vatharakumvure Dharmaratana Thera, this Pson zone will be held until the 15th of June. The SLTB has arranged a special bus service from Balangoda town to Kuragala for the convenience of devotees. Several special religious programs will also be held at the Kuragala Rajamahaviharaya tomorrow, marking Sirasa TV's 27th anniversary. Another Pson zone will be held starting tomorrow at the Depanama Broadcasting Station in Pannipitiya. This zone will feature lanterns, a replica of Mihintale, a digital Pson pandal, Buddhist films and dansals.
During festive seasons, many people engage in various outings with water-based activities often drawing significant interest. However, we wish to remind the public that such activities can pose serious risks, a point tragically underscored by a recent incident.
Yesterday, a heartbreaking case was reported where 4 individuals drowned at the Pahala LA River in Aralaganwala, Polonnaruwa. Their bodies are currently placed at the Dehiyathakandi Hospital. Relatives say that they are in a difficult financial situation and lack the means to transport the bodies back to their homes in Ratnalana. Yesterday, 4 individuals tragically drowned while bathing during a trip to their relative's house in Polonnaruwa. Among the victims were 27-year-old Ruan Tharakati Silva and his wife, 23-year-old Tilokama Tilakaratna, a married couple from Ratnalana.
මරණ ටිකම අපිට මේකට ගෙන්න ගන්න එහෙන් ඉල්ලලා තියෙනවා 2,60,000. ගෙදර අය සියලුම දෙනා බොහොම අසරණ වෙලා ඉන්නේ මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ හින්දා. අපිට පුළුවන් නම් මේ රජයේ කරන ලොකුම උදව්ව ලොකුම පින මේ අයට මේ වෙලාවේ උදව් කරන්න.
The other 2 victims are 31-year-old Menaka Darshani and her 13-year-old daughter Likiti Pathanika, who were also residents of Ratnalana.
මේ මං හදපු මිනිබිරි මම දීග දුන්නේ ඔක්කොම කරේ මම තමයි මත්තේව මෙච්චර ලොකු කරලා ඉගෙනුවේ කුලි වැඩ කරලා මම මෙයාව ඉස්කෝලේ ඇරලා ඉගෙනුවා.
The bodies of the 4 victims are still being held at the Dehiyathakandi Hospital. They tragically drowned on the 7th of June while bathing at the nearby Pahala LA River, located approximately 200 meters away from the relative's house.
If you are entering the water in less popular areas, it is important to make sure that lifeguards are on duty in that specific location. If lifeguards are present, it is safer to choose those areas. However, if you choose places where no one is around and which are not designated as bathing areas, you are putting your life and the lives of others, especially those closest to you, at risk. If you are drowning, the first thing you should do is shout for help. At the same time, you should not jump into the water to save a drowning person, as this could put your own life in danger as well. So during this Pson season, we want to remind you that it is important to protect yourself and always stay alert and physically prepared.
A Singapore-flagged container ship that had departed from Colombo caught fire off the coast of Kerala this morning.
The 270-meter-long vessel had left Colombo on the 7th June and was en route to Mumbai, where it was expected to arrive on the 10th June. The fire below the deck was first reported at around 10:30 a.m. by the Maritime Operations Centre in Mumbai to their counterparts in Kochi. Officials had earlier said an explosion was reported from the ship MV Vanhai 503, but later clarified it was a fire. The communication from the PRO read, on the 9th June 2025 at about 10:30, MOC received an information from MOC about a reported underdeck fire on board MV Vanhai 503. The vessel is a Singapore-flagged container ship, 270 meters long and draw 12.5 meters with LPC Colombo. The vessel departed Colombo on the 7th June 2025 with NPC Mumbai 10th June.
Visa, the global payments leader, announced it will host the Visa Asia Pacific Summit in Sri Lanka to support the country's MICE tourism. Speaking at the conference, the regional president of Visa for Asia Pacific, Stephen Carpin, emphasized Visa's commitment to Sri Lanka by supporting digital transformation.
Visa has been welcomed to Sri Lanka for over 37 years now, over 37 years. And that's a great privilege that we'll never take for granted. And we are very committed to supporting the country's digital transformation and the economic progress that comes from digital transformation. We know that is a critical element of economic growth, of the well-being of the community. And as the world's largest digital payments company, we can contribute to that, and we're committed to doing that. And what we also need to do is to help digitalise payments. And what we're committing to do as part of that, it will fuel the digitisation of tourist corridors and offer seamless, secure and cashless experience to travellers. So people who come from all over the world are used to using Visa payments. We're very much dedicated to advancing Sri Lanka's vision to transition to a less cash, digitised economy. One way we're doing that is through Visa Government Solutions. So that's our business that supports governments in digitising government processes and the payments that underpin them. Working with the Ministry of Digital Economy and our banking partners, we've streamlined citizen payments for services like utility bills, for licence renewals, taxes and expressway tolls. So we're helping to digitalise all of that and put payments in there to make the economy more efficient.
The conference was attended by several dignitaries, including Sandeep Ghosh, the Group Country Manager for India and South Asia.
A walk organised by the LGBTQA+ community was held in Vaunia today.
The walk organised by the LGBTQA+ community in honour of their recognition and self-respect. It commenced from the Vaunia main bus stand.
Israeli forces have taken command of a charity vessel that had tried to break a naval blockade of the Gaza Strip, and the boat with its crew of 12, including activist Greta Thunberg, is now heading to a port in Israel. The British-flagged yacht Madeleine, which is operated by the pro-Palestinian Freedom Flotilla Coalition, was aiming to deliver a symbolic amount of aid to Gaza and raise international awareness of the humanitarian crisis there.
Okay, they're dropping chemicals on us. They're dropping chemicals on us. We don't know what it is.
Israeli forces intercepted the Madeleine after it tried to break a naval blockade of the Gaza Strip and detains its crew of 12, including activist Greta Thunberg and French MEP Rima Hassan. The British-flagged ship, which is operated by the pro-Palestinian Freedom Flotilla Coalition, or the FFC, was aiming to deliver a symbolic amount of aid to Gaza and raise international awareness of the humanitarian crisis there. The FFC said that the boat was boarded during the night before it could reach shore. In a post online, the organization said the ship was unlawfully boarded, its unarmed civilian crew abducted, and its life-saving cargo, including baby formula, food and medical supplies, confiscated.
The maritime zone of the coast of Gaza is closed to naval traffic as part of a legal naval blockade. If you wish to deliver humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip, you are able to do so through the port of Ashdod via the established channels and distribution centers.
So you can see it clearly there. It stinks really, really bad. We don't know what it is. And we're putting up the Palestine flag to protect us, literally. We are using the Palestine flag to protect us. This is what we are doing right now. We don't know what this paint is. I cannot tell you. It smells very weird.
But white paint.
The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in the Palestinian territories, Francesca Albanese, said she had been in touch with the Madeleine before communication had been lost.
This is what the point I want to make. Israel has absolutely no authority to intercept and stop a boat like this, which carried humanitarian aid and most than everything else, humanity to the people of Gaza. You know, there should be state navies breaking the siege instead of a boat of volunteers risking their life. The boat was surrounded by drones. 2 drones had been seen. I asked them to identify what kind of drones, if they had the capacity. And in a few minutes, they told me they had seen quadcopters, the machines, the drones that can shoot. So they took cover, and the boat was meanwhile being sprayed with a white substance. This was the end of the second phone call, and around 12:30 a.m. UK time, I received another phone call that they had been intercepted. So the soldiers were coming in, and I could hear the voice of the soldiers on the boat. It seemed that there was chaos, but at the same time, it was relatively calm. And the captain was still speaking, saying, until we were boarded, and no one was wounded. And then the communication was cut.
The Israeli Foreign Ministry confirmed the Madeleine was under Israeli control and making its way to the shores of Israel, adding that its passengers are expected to return to their home countries. Referring to the aid vessel as a selfie yacht, the ministry said all passengers were safe and unharmed, and that the aid on board will be transferred to Gaza through real humanitarian channels. A social media account belonging to MEP Rima Hassan, who was on board the vessel, said, quote, "The crew of the Freedom Flotilla was arrested by the Israeli army in international waters around 2 a.m. End quote. A picture posted on the account showed the crew seated on the boat, all wearing life jackets with their hands in the air. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz congratulated the Israeli army on the quick and safe takeover of the Madeleine and confirmed the passengers on board would be transported to the port of Ashdod. Katz added that he had instructed the IDF to show the flotilla passengers the video of the horrors of the 7th of October massacre. Early on Sunday, Katz ordered the military to prevent the Madeleine from reaching Gaza, calling the mission a propaganda effort in support of Hamas. Katz said that the blockade was essential to Israel's national security as it seeks to destroy Hamas. Palestinian rights organization Al-Haq has called for the safe passage and protection of the crew of the Madeleine, a ship from the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, and to ensure a humanitarian corridor to Gaza. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry, based in the West Bank, has called for the activists on board the ship to be protected. In a post on X, the ministry says it salutes the international solidarity activists aboard the ship attempting to break the siege on the Gaza Strip, calling the operation noble.
Protests against immigration raids in Los Angeles continue for a third day, with police saying downtown Los Angeles is now an quote-unquote unlawful assembly area. Vehicles have been set on fire and there have been some reports of looting, while a British photographer needed surgery after being shot with a sponge bullet. At least 56 people have been arrested in downtown Los Angeles.
Throngs of protesters against federal immigration raids descended on downtown Los Angeles. Law enforcement shot less lethal rounds to push back the crowds. Demonstrators spilled into the 101 freeway and caused it to partially shut down, while others set fire to way more cars. Around 300 National Guard members are in the city after President Donald Trump ordered the deployment of 2,000 troops, a move California Governor Gavin Newsom sharply criticized as inflammatory. About 500 Marines are also ready to deploy. Border Czar Tom Homan defended Trump's decision to deploy the troops and warned that Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass could be arrested if they impede operation efforts. The city of Glendale today said it has entered an agreement to hold federal immigration detainees at its city lockup. The city said in a news release that it has had an agreement with Homeland Security and ICE since 2007 to house federal immigration detainees, but recently reviewed the deal and decided to end it. In a statement, Glendale said its city manager made the decision after careful evaluation. Lauren Tomasi, a US correspondent for CNN affiliate 9 News in Australia, was hit by a rubber bullet fired by police during her live broadcast. Tomasi was left sore but otherwise unharmed, according to the network.
You okay?
Police expanded their unlawful assembly declaration to include all of downtown Los Angeles, generally the area inside a loop created by the 110, 101, 5 and 10 freeways. The declaration means nobody, with a few exceptions, including members of the news media, should be in the area and will be subject to arrest. The order was expanded as marchers headed towards LA Live, moving from the northeast corner of downtown, where the federal complex exists, to the southwest corner. Police also said earlier that incendiary devices were being thrown at mounted officers as some protesters had split off and were individually wreaking havoc at different locations. Immigration authorities and demonstrators have clashed for 3 days in the Los Angeles area, with unrest beginning Friday after dozens of people were detained by federal immigration agents across different locations. Demonstrators flooded the streets, including blocking lanes on freeways near an initial protest site at the Metropolitan Detention Center after the assembly was declared unlawful by the Los Angeles Police Department. Former Vice President Kamala Harris called the deployment of National Guard to her home state of California a dangerous escalation to the demonstrations and part of the Trump administration's cruel agenda.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.